Okay, we are going to talk about exponential functions, exponential equations, and natural exponents. So when you've got an exponential function, this is the general formula which you use. And so I'm going to talk about what the K, the A, and the C stand for. So C stands for the horizontal asymptote, and A affects whether it's increasing or growth or decay. So if it's positive, if it's a number greater than 1, then it's going to be growth. If it's a fraction between 0 and 1, it's going to be decay. And K determines how steep it is. So in this example here, we've got the equation y equals 2 to the power of x. So if I've got y equals 2 to the power of x, I could do y equals 2 to the 0, y equals 2 to the power of 1, power of 2, power of 3, y equals 2 to the negative 1 power, 2 to the negative 2 power, 2 to the negative 3 power. Okay? Well, 2 to the negative 3 power is 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1/8. Right? 2 to the negative 1 power is 1/2. 2 to the negative 2 power is 1 over 2 squared, which is going to give me 1/4. So these are the values, and if I plot them, I'm going to get an exponential function. Okay, so you're allowed to use the TI-83 calculator on the IB exam, so you're going to be able to simply type them in and see how it looks. So something that you should be aware of is they're going to use this type of notation. As x increases, so that means as x gets bigger, what's the behavior of the graph? So as x gets bigger, so as x goes to infinity, y is going up also exponentially to infinity. Now if I go to the left, as x gets closer and closer to negative infinity, the graph is getting closer and closer to 0. So you might be asked, what is the domain and range? So in here, the domain is the x values. We can plug in any value for x, and we're going to get an answer. So, oh no, what's happening? Okay. And so we can plug in any value in for x, which means we can plug in any value which is going to be a real number. Okay, now the y values are all above the x-axis, right? So y has to be greater than or equal to 0. Or actually not equal to 0, it can only be greater than 0. And this, since it won't go below the x-axis, we could say we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Okay. Now, if the c value here had been a particular number, then the horizontal asymptote would have moved up or down. Okay. You'll be able to experience this when you type it into your calculator. Okay, next page. So, some of the other problems when we have exponential equations, you're going to be asked to solve some equations like this. Okay, so how do we solve this? So what I'm going to do in my calculator, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press y equals, and then I'm going to type in 2 to the power of x in the first spot here. So 2 caret x, and then we're also, in the next one, we're going to type in 50. Okay. All right. So this will give me an equation for the left side. This will give me an equation for the right side. And then we're going to graph this. But before I can graph it, I need to adjust the window. So I'm going to change, since the height of the graph has to be bigger than 50, you can click Window, and I'm going to change Y max to well, something bigger than 50. Let's try 60. Okay, and then I hit Enter, and then I hit Graph to see what the graph looks like, and I can see where they're going to intersect, because we're trying to find out where they intersect. So in order to figure out where they intersect, so if you press graph, you get this. So in order to figure out where they intersect, we need to press second trace. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Second trace, and that allows me to get this view right here. So I'm going to hit 5 for intersect. So I can either arrow down to 5 and hit enter, or I could just push the number 5. And then it says first curve, and it has the first equation. I'm just going to hit enter. And then it says second curve, and it says y2 equals 50. I'm just going to hit enter. And then it's going to say guess, and I hit enter, and da-da-da-da. Then it tells me my answer is 5.64. 5.6438562. Okay, so I'm just going to write it in 3 significant figures. Okay, you're going to have a bunch of problems like this. It's not going to be that hard. Okay. And lastly, for today's assignment, you're going to see they're going to ask you to do some problems with the natural E. So E is a button on your calculator. It's just below. If I hit the second button and the division symbol, then I get E. Okay, and so if I wanted to find E, it'll tell you what the value is, 2.718. So they're going to do the same sort of thing, but instead of an A value, you're going to have an E sometimes, and that's going to be fine. All right, hope you do okay on your homework.